All right, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us carry forward the energy, the spirit, the unity that has been cultivated today or just now to the next session. So our next agenda, we will highlight on Indonesia's ambitious climate plan. As we all know, the nation has raised the bar by increasing its ambition in renewable energy targets for NDC acceleration. So the next question is, what kind of programs or actions to be in place to accelerate energy transition to achieve the nation's climate goal? And how to significantly reduce the reliance on fossil fuels, and how to promote sustainable and low carbon initiatives. And also how the industries can contribute to expedite the fulfillment of Indonesia's enhanced NDC. Let's begin by calling out our moderator for the session. He's the Forestry Attaché Indonesian Embassy in Tokyo, Dr. Muhammad Zahrul Mutakin. Pak Zahrul, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for participating in this very challenging session, of course, in the afternoon. So today we will have like a discussion about the enhanced NDC of Indonesia in the energy sector. The second largest ambition of Indonesian NDC, where we already enhanced our energy targets for emission reduction from 11 to 12.5%. So how can we achieve it and also accelerate this one? We are now talking about not only the state actor, but also the non-state actors, the role of the non-state actors to achieve this NDC. Before we have our talk show, I would like to invite Mr. Jismas from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, the Director General of Electricity, to deliver his keynote speech. Pak, floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Excellencies, Minister of Environment and Forestry or Representative, Mrs. Niki Widewati, CEO of Pertamina, Pak Hilmi Pandigoro, President Director of Medco Energy, Mr. Abdulaziz Al-Bodiali, CEO Masdar UAE, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. It is great pleasure for me to attend this talk show in the increasing ambition in renewable energy target for NDC acceleration. Before I start, I would like to convey apologies from His Excellency Minister Arifin Tasrif due to very important agenda. He couldn't join this event. Next slide. Yeah. Currently, the total power generation in Indonesia is around 85.6 gigawatt, with 81% of power generation is developed by PLN. As a largest electric utility company in Indonesia, the 19% remaining is on industrial business area and captive power. For the energy mix, we still have 85% of power generation is coming from fossil power generation, while 15% from the renewable energy. It is consisting of 56% from coal, 24% from gas, 8% from hydro, 4% bioenergy, 3% geothermal, and 5% from oil. Next slide, please. Indonesia's renewable energy resources are abundant and spread throughout the country. Total potential is about 3.6 terawatt. However, only 12.6 gigawatt or 3 0.3% of the total potential has been utilized. We have a target to increase the renewable energy portion by 23% in 2025. Indonesia started our energy transition agenda by supporting global commitment through Paris Agreement to reduce the greenhouse gas emission and maintain global temperature rise doesn't exceed 2 degrees Celsius and strive to be 1.5 degrees Celsius based on Paris Agreement and several UNFCCC framework. Indonesia, as a part of global community, has set its national determined contribution NDC by reducing emission by 29% below business as usual in 2030 and 41 with international cooperation. At the beginning, energy sector commitment is to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 314 up to 446 million tons of CO2 by 2030. However, Indonesia has set a new consolidation target for reducing CO2 emission in the energy sector by 2060 with 129 million tons of CO2. This emission will be offset by the forestry sector to achieve net zero emission by 2060, especially for the electric sector. CO2 emissions are expected to reach 0 ton of CO2 by 2060. However, the electricity demand in 2024 up to 2060 is projected to grow an average rate of 3.6 to 4.2% per year. This projection of electricity demand will increase the additional power generation as well as the amount CO2 emission. We predict the highest emission will reach the peak in 2030 and gradually decreasing until reach zero emission in 2060. To achieve the net zero emission target, we have established several renewable energy development as long-term strategy for national electricity development, which are listed in the National Electricity General Plan. We call it RUKN. Total additional power plant in 2060 is around 427 gigawatt, consisting of 52% VRE generators equipped with 61 gigawatt storage and 48% non-VRE or dispatchable generators. RUKN will be the reference document for the development of electricity business plan. We call it RUPTL, including PLN, who has the biggest utilities with 90% shares. We also are preparing a roadmap for natural retirement for 65 gigawatt coal power plant in RUKN. The utilization of coal-fired power plant will reach peak in 2030 and will be ended in 2057. In order to reduce the emission from the coal power plant, we will introduce the retrofitting of fuel switching with renewable fuels, ammonia or hydrogen, and adoption of CCS technology when its power purchase agreement or PPA came to an end or its book value become zero. The objective is to optimize asset utilization and reduce social impact on plant termination. There will be more spaces for renewable energy development due to increasing demand and coal power plant passing down. We are projecting that solar power will be massively increased in 2030, mostly floating solar PV by utilizing hydro dams. Wind power plants will increasing in 2037. Geothermal power plant will be gradually increased and reach 22 gigawatt by 2060. Hydropower plants will be 77 gigawatt in 2060. We will optimize a lot of available renewable energy potential. However, we still need around 9 gigawatt of other new and renewable energy to fulfill the demand in 2060. And green hydrogen production is planned to start in 2031. In the future, epicentrum of load is still in Java Bali system and Sulawesi with the expansion of smelter industries. However, the renewable energy potential is far away. So we need to strengthen the electricity infrastructure. We plan to develop Nusantara Supergrid to connect 5 main islands, Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Nusa Tenggara Bali. The Sumatra-Java interconnection is urgently needed to be developed. We plan the interconnection high voltage AC and high voltage DC in 2029 will be operated. We need interconnection from North Kalimantan to Java Island to evacuate around 13 gigawatt of hydropower potential. In Papua Island, there is more than 7 gigawatt of hydropower potential. Hopefully, we encourage the development of green hydrogen and green ammonia. The modernization of the grid system by using smart grid could improve the penetration of variable renewable energy. We believe that no energy transition without transmission and no security without interconnectivity. We emphasize more collaboration of local and international partners in helping Indonesia achieving its net zero emission target by 2060 or sooner. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all my speech. I hope it will be beneficial for you. And thank you. Good afternoon for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sisman Sutajulu, for this keynote speech about the, how Indonesia now have a roadmap for achieving the net zero emission by 2060 or sooner, and in terms of the use of the renewable energy. Next, we will have 3 big players in energy sector, as well as 3 big players in initiative for using the renewable energy as the main activity right now. We will have here Ms. Nika Widiawati, the CEO of the Pertamina, and please come forward. We also have like Mr. Hilmi Panigoro from Medco Energy. Please come forward. And last but not least, from our friends in United Arab Emirates, Mr. Abdul Aziz Al Ubaidili from Masdar Energy. Okay, we will have, can I have a seat? Okay, thank you very much. We will have about 30 minutes maybe for our talks here this afternoon. And I will be asking the panels here something about their work in the renewable energy. And I hope you guys can respond it in 10 minutes, for example, each. So I would like to start with Ibu Nika from the Pertamina. It's, you know that Pertamina has like also responsibility to also reduce the emission in energy sector in Indonesia. So, but you also need to secure the energy for Indonesia also. So how can your company secure the energy during the transition for achieving the net zero emission by 2060? Please.
Yeah, thank you. Is it clear? Okay. Yeah, good question. So actually, we have to go back with the energy trilemma, if the equation is not like that. So we have to manage three issues related to the energy: energy security, energy equity, and energy sustainability. As a developing country like Indonesia, we have a target, a stable and economic growth. So we know that energy is a catalyst for economic growth. So that's why we put the energy security as our priority first. But then we also have to manage in a balance for energy equity, which is energy accessibility and energy affordability, and energy sustainability in terms of reducing the carbon emission in our operation for scope 1, scope 3, and scope 2 and scope 3. So we cannot say that we have to develop the renewable energy and shifting all the fossil fuel to renewable energy. It will jeopardizing the energy security. So that's why we have three main strategy on how we manage the sustainability whilst we also keep maintaining the energy security and strengthening the energy equity. First, we have to maintain our legacy business, oil and gas. Why? The government of Indonesia have a target to increase the production of oil and gas upstream from now 700,000 barrels per day to become 1 million barrels per day by 2030. But we have to do it different way. We call it green operation. So that's why, maybe the slide, please. We have three initiatives. One is energy efficiency. You know, globally, everybody say that energy efficiency is very important and more easier to reduce the emission. So the contribution is around 39% of reducing emission. So that's why we focus on that, energy efficiency, in our operation, upstream, midstream, and downstream. And then, don't forget, methane reduction. We just focusing on CO2, but actually, the methane have a capacity to destroying the environment worse compared to the CO2 emission. So that's why they put 7.6%. And the carbon emission put 5.5%, and also the flare reduction. We are doing just like the initiative of flaring gas recovery system, and also the utilization of the flaring gas itself. From that three initiative, the Pertamina until last year successfully reduced 31% of our emission in our internal operation. So that is the first strategy. The second strategy is we increasing our development on low carbon product. Yeah. First, biofuel. Why biofuel? Indonesia is the 8th largest country that have a forest. So we have a capacity to produce the biofuel. Now with B35, last year we successfully reduced around 32 million tons CO2 per year. And we will add more, B35 now, and then next year, B40. In our national energy policy, the new one, the target is up to B60. And also the biogasoline. We blending the bioethanol, sugarcane base, corn, and also cassava base to our gasoline. We start with E5%, and in Indonesia national energy policy, it will gradually increase to become E40. And also we just launched our new SAF, sustainable efficient fuel, blending our jet fuel with CPO base. So there is Indonesia have to. This is the program that very, the best option for Indonesia. There is three main benefits. First, we can reduce our imported fuel through biofuel. Second, we can reduce the emission. And the third one is creating employment in upstream. And the third, and next slide, the third initiative is, third one is carbon offsetting. We know that the fossil fuel is still there, even though in our PTL, Pak Jisman say that there is still coal power plant. But we have to reduce the emission through carbon capture, utilization, storage, and also the NBS, natural-based solution, with the forestry that we have a capacity to absorb the emission from the global environment up to 15%. So there is the three initiative from Pertamina on how we can reduce the emission, but we still keep maintaining the energy security and energy equity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nika, for explaining the concept of energy sustainability, energy equity, energy security, and also the strategies that have been set up by Pertamina to achieve what they call towards the zero emission. Next, we will hear from Mr. Hilmi Panigoro from Medco Energy. Pak Hilmi, as a private sector in energy, you not only try to provide energy, but also would like to create more, maybe of course profit in energy business, but also how you also try to apply more renewable energy, more environmentally energy in your business. So how can you build the long-term value of sustainable energy and also natural resources portfolio in your company? Please.
Okay, thank you, Pak. Can you hear me okay? Okay, all right. Just for the benefit of the audience, Medco Energy is a private company listed at Jakarta Stock Exchange, and our main business is oil and gas upstream, copper and gold mining and processing, and power generations. First of all, I want to echo what Ibu Nika just said. As an energy company, of course, we have to maintain this balance between security of energy, sustainability, and of course, affordability. Because especially for a developing country like us, the country will still need an affordable energy to support the growth of our economy. Now, I think it's just more relevant for me to just share with you what we as a private company can do to help the government goal in achieving net zero by 2060. Well, this is a responsibility of us as a global citizen. So we also pledge ourselves to reach net zero by 2050. How do we do that? Okay. At least I can say 4 things that we do right now. The first one, we try to deploy the latest state-of-the-art of technology in all of our operations, all of our machineries and everything. We want to make sure that the emission of CO2 is minimized. Including in the design of our production operation, we'll always try to minimize the CO2 footprint. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, this is related to scope 2. Later on, Pak Rahmat, the CEO of our mining, will explain in detail. But we are probably one of the few companies in Indonesia. Today, the mining operation is all powered by coal and diesel. And we have pledged ourselves to voluntarily decommission this coal and diesel power plant by 2025. And we're going to replace it with a combination of gas, solar, and wind. And it's going to happen before the end of 2025. Okay. The third thing that we do, for a company like us, is probably too small to be able to have our own R&D. So what we do, we are doing a joint study, joint research with multinational companies, the major companies, government institutions, especially on two things: hydrogen and carbon capture and storage. Because we believe, although hydrogen is probably still too far, but CCS for Indonesia is very relevant. Pak Jisman has just shown that in Java today we have 23 gigawatt of coal-fired power plant, which is the base load today for the economy backbone in Indonesia. And I think instead of decommissioning it, if we can capture the CO2, transport it, and inject it into a depleted reservoir, then we can prolong this cheap energy without CO2 emission. Okay. And the last thing, through our subsidiary, the Power Group, we are now focusing, of course, on clean and renewable energy. So that's why our Power Group today is only generate gas as a transition, and as we speak today, we are generating and developing solar and geothermal.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Hilmi Panigoro, for the your voluntary in achieving net zero emission, and also your pledge that by 2025, Medco Energy will use renewable energy for your operation. That's very, very important for us. Next, to Mr. Abdul Aziz Al Ubaidili, Master, why Indonesia? And what have you done in Indonesia? And what you expect with Indonesia? So you are operating in Indonesia. Please.
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me to speak. And my question would be, why not Indonesia? All right. But before answering that question, allow me also to shed some light about Masdar. We are a renewable energy pioneering company started in 2006. And we are certainly supporting the UAE to be at the forefront of the effort the UAE are putting to support the nations around the world to decarbonize and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Today we are active in more than 40 countries, including Indonesia. We have developed projects with the capacity of more than 20 gigawatt pure renewable energy projects. Many of our projects are already in operations, some are under construction, and some we've already signed the commitment and agreements to develop them and construct them very, very soon. But most importantly is the future. And we also have committed ourselves to increase our capacity by 5 times in less than 7 years. So by 2030, we want to achieve 100 gigawatt, which is certainly, thank you, which is certainly very ambitious target. But we have the confidence, first of all, in the partners we work with. And in Indonesia, we have a lot of partners. Some of them are sitting with us here. And we are keen to expand, certainly, our partnership with the Indonesian players. Because Indonesia is a very key strategic market for us. And I think the presentation by His Excellency have answered a lot why Indonesia. There is an increasing demand for electricity, and we believe that renewable energy not only support in decarbonization, but today support in energy security, energy equity, and achieve certainly some of the lowest and most competitive pricing worldwide. Second, of course, a country like Indonesia, and thanks to PLN and Mr. Dharma, the institutional stability, the fact that there is already a plan for decarbonization, the fact that the company has a vision, the country have a vision, a plan, and a future capacity planning, make it very easy for us as investors to navigate and understand how much we can invest and for how long. So we see long term rather than just seeing very short term. Also, we believe that Indonesia would be the door for us in Asia Pacific. And that's why we opened our first Asia Pacific office in 2021 in Jakarta in Indonesia, and we consider it our first point to expand in the region. We worked with our partners and we developed one of our first projects, but I think also one of the most favorite project for anyone work in Masdar, including Fatima here, who is based, by the way, in Indonesia and Jakarta. Our solar floating solar plant in Cirata is the largest floating solar plant today in the region. And it is important not just because it is solar, because it's solving one of the key issues most of the countries in the region is facing, which is the scarcity of land. So by providing a solution that can avoid the using of land in a country which is highly populated, we're opening the door for many future floating projects in Indonesia as well as in the region. And I do believe the experience we have gathered from this project, and believe me, it was not an easy project. And speak to our colleagues in PLN, it is a project where we had to think out of the box, where we had to try different technologies. But today, we're very confident that thanks to this project and to the challenges we face in this project, we can build on this and capitalize it to increase the capacity of solar in Indonesia as well as in the region. And once again, I would say then, because of all of this, why not Indonesia?
Thank you. We have heard that all the distinguished speakers talk about what has been done and what they expect to achieve what they already set up in their companies. So the next round of my question should I will ask one question that should be responded by each panelist. This is about what's the main obstacle right now for you to move forward with your plan, and how will you basically address the obstacle so your plan to go with the new with the renewable energy, your target will be achieved. Starting from you, Ibu, please.
Okay, so there is 4 challenges that we face. The first challenge is regulatory framework. So we need appropriate regulation on how we can accelerate the development of renewable energy. Okay, first is I saved the best for last. It's about geothermal. One of our portfolio business in Pertamina is geothermal. Indonesia have a very huge potential, around 25 gigawatt geothermal. But now the capacity that already start to be operated is just less than 10%. So we still have 90% reserve to be produced to become electricity and also the green hydrogen. But now there is the obstacle, you see, the regulation that allow us to increase the commercial viability. Since now there is a gap, there is a parity mismatch between the location of the supply and the demand. So we need some kind of new policy for the transmission, for the grid itself, that allow us to use the grid to transport and to sell directly to the industry. Since now the buying capability may be different between household and industry. So we can focus on industry first to increase the economy of scale. There's first. The second, regulatory framework for carbon capture and storage. Indonesia have a potential around 577 gigaton CO2 storage in our reservoir and also saline aquifer. The regulation required to allow the industry inject or sequestration the CO2 in the ground, not just for domestic, but also for from the overseas. So we need a regulation that give us maybe some like the incentive and how we can create. The one is capturing, second is transporting, whether through pipeline or liquefaction and bring it by vessel, and the third one is sequestration. Now, so we come to the second challenge is technology. Why we still need the regulation? Since there is a technology challenge, we need the technology for all our natural resources. Indonesia have abundant natural resources to be produced to become energy, and also we have a captive market. But we need the technology to produce that. And the third one is financial. We need the funding, especially for the early stage of development, research and development, something like that. We need that. And the last one is capability and capacity building. Everybody say that no one left behind during energy transition, but how? How we can reskilling, creating new skill and new specialization for the people, and then can adopt the new technology, the new knowledge, the new skill to be relevant to the future energy. There is four challenges, and we believe that we need also the global collaboration on how we can tackle these challenges, and also the support from government especially. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ibu. Thank you. Applause for Ibu Nika. Pak Hilmi, your response, Pak?
Okay. Let me make it very simple, Pak. People like me is a very simple creature. Give us the right return and we will compete to get the project done. So I think this is a combination of economics and technology. Unfortunately, in Indonesia, the only or the biggest buyer of renewable energy is PLN. So the tariff is set by the government. Okay? And today, if you want to develop a new renewable energy project and sell it to PLN, most likely the return will be in a low single digit. So we have to be very creative. Look, Pak Darmo is here, Pak. So we have to be creative in finding, I would say, a cheap cost of fund. Initially, I thought JETP was the solution. But then later on, we found that, look, this is a commercial rate. And today with, federal rate is still 5%, it's probably going to be very difficult for a private company like us to develop a project with low single-digit return. So I think that is the main challenge for us right now. Yeah? How to be able to find the right renewable energy project that gives us the right return. But of course, we cannot separate this from technology. For instance, in CCS, we are now involved in studies with a few major companies. And we can see that with the development of this technology, it's come down very significantly. And hopefully one day it will reach below 4 cents. And at that time, I'm sure we all can develop that technology and prolong the life of these fossil fuel projects. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Applause to Pak Nigoro. Then, Mr. Obaidili, so even though why not Indonesia, but still you may face some, comparisons or something that you can share with us, please.
Sure. First of all, it's 5 minutes, so I'll make it very, very short. I think I personally like challenges. Challenges make us think better. Challenges make us think out of the box, come up with solutions. And competition does the same as well. So I think this is very healthy that we have challenges. Otherwise, we will relax, we will not be able to find solution. And the project I have used as an example, Chirata, was a very challenging project. And without those challenges, we at Masdar and our partners wouldn't have built the capabilities and the experience to construct such a projects and more of it. And to answer your question, I think just probably to summarize what my colleagues here have highlighted, technology is a challenge, right? Especially when it comes to long-term storage. Grid operators struggle with renewables today because of the fluctuation and the nature of renewable energy. So I think we need to work together in finding more affordable and cost-competitive energy solutions to make the life of grid operators easier, to make them love us, because today I'm not sure they love us a lot. Second is certainly funding. Funding and financing is a challenge, especially in the global south. So we need a lot of support, we need a lot of collaboration. We also count a lot that hopefully throughout COP28, the Loss and Damage Fund will be activated and will provide a lot of solutions for developing countries to expand and accelerate the renewable energy capacities. And last, collaboration is very important. Partnership is very important because with partnership, we learn from each other, we enable each other. For example, through our partnership with Pertamina in geothermal, we are willing to work with them in making this business global. Indonesia have done a great job in geothermal in Indonesia. Why not taking it now outside? Having Africa benefiting from this experience, having other countries benefiting from this experience. So I will summarize it again in technology, funding, and then the need for collaboration. Those are really challenges, but challenges are good because will make us working better.
Thank you. Thank you. Shukran jazilan for summarizing what I have to done. I have to do for summing up the session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation and also for the distinguished speakers. We already heard about what the companies has been doing, and even though we are talking here, but the homework still in Pak Chisman side. So thank you very much for your participation, and thank you also for us. Applause for us. Thank you very much.